Good evening and welcome to Northampton School for Boys. My name is Hannah Rickaby and I'm in charge of work experience here at Northampton School for Boys as well as being a languages teacher. This evening I will be sharing with you why we do work experience, what the process will be for your son or daughter between now and July, and the support available from school, what we expect of your son or daughter whilst on placement, and all of the contact details that you will need moving forwards. At Northampton School for Boys, we have a planned programme of careers education and guidance at each key stage, and as your son and daughter completes their first year of sixth form here, they will undertake a work experience placement during the final week of the academic year. This year, the dates for Year 12 work experience are Monday the 18th of July to Friday the 22nd of July. So why do we do work experience? The South East Midlands is one of the most successful areas in the UK for employment, job prosperity and growing a business. Northamptonshire has one of the lowest levels of unemployment in the country and is privileged to be home to some of the most innovative organisations and technology projects in current times. Employer perceptions of young people have transformed over the latest generation following marked changes in the job market. With the concept of a traditional job changing, technological advances leading to industries disappearing, and the ever-increasing cost of higher education, the labour market is constantly evolving, and there is a duty of care for businesses and schools to help young people make more informed careers decisions. Work experience is a fantastic way in which to do this. Young people nowadays can be some of the most disadvantaged in the labour market because they lack the experience and exposure to job-specific skills that most employers require of them. In the last few years, there has been a notable shift in attitudes towards work experience both in the business community and at a government level. Work experience is without doubt something that employers value and can often be of more business value than specific qualifications. "15% of jobs advertised in Northamptonshire list basic skills and attitude and behaviour as main priorities for successful applicants. Furthermore, 18% of businesses highlight that communication and time management skills are essential for interested candidates. Businesses cannot expect applicants to possess these skills if we do not create worthwhile opportunities to expose our young people to the world of work. A work experience placement is crucial to the successful development of your son or daughter's employability skills and will complement their academic curriculum in PSHE and enrichment lessons. It's a fantastic opportunity to spend a week with an employer of their choice and can help them decide what they might like to do in the future. Many students can think that a work placement is about having a week out of school or simply testing a job they fancy doing in the future, but it is about so much more than that. It helps young people to develop real skills that will allow them to be successful in today's competitive and fast-paced world of work. A work experience placement has several benefits, which when combined with many of the skills and extracurricular activities you can see on the screen now, goes a long way to increasing your son or daughter's long-term employability in an increasingly competitive labour market, as well as helping them to stand out in applications for further education options post-18. Work experience during your time in sixth form is also a legal requirement of the school from the Department for Education, so unfortunately not doing it is not an option. This week, via AIM, you will receive a parent and student handbook. In this, you will see more detail about how and why work experience is important to any applications for university or other post-18 education options. Clearly, if your plan after year 13 is to enter straight into the world of work, then work experience is absolutely essential to any application. Often the first question a student asks is, well, where should I do my work placement? I have no idea what I want to do. And it's true that most people at the tender age of 16 or 17 might not know what they want to do, or if they do have a clear idea, this will often transform and develop as they continue their education. We would hope that given your son or daughter is likely now progressing with post-18 education applications, that they have a clear idea of what they want to do, perhaps more so than say our year 10 students. But if it is the case that your son or daughter is completely at a loss as to what to do for work experience, we would recommend that they start by thinking about the subjects they enjoy most out of their A-level selection, or indeed the particular areas they enjoy within the BTEC programme of study. On the screen now, you can see a selection of the core school subjects and potential ideas associated with them. After you've watched this presentation, you can refer also to your parents' information pack that you will have received via the email address we hold on record for you. And in it, there is an extensive list of all the subjects that your son or daughter studies and ideas and recommendations about work experience ideas in line with their school subject preferences or indeed their future study plans. Your son or daughter will also receive an information pack this week, which again has lots of ideas for them to take a look through. They can also talk to their form tutor, myself, or our careers advisor, Miss Schaefer, who is offering drop-in sessions for Year 12s during various lunchtimes. I will be checking in with students regularly via their form tutors to make sure they are making progress with their search and application processes. Students will also have allocated time during enrichment between now and their placement to get everything organised. The first place to start is deciding on an industry type or company your son or daughter might want to work for example, an accountancy firm. Second is to do internet research to find local such businesses that you can shortlist as target firms. Next is to make contact. The best way to do this is to make a phone call. Now, this can seem like a scary task, so if your son or daughter is nervous about doing this, we would recommend that they write down a script of what they want to say and the questions they want to ask. In your son or daughter's guide, they've been given a breakdown of how to structure the conversation and how to mould it. It's important to remember that some companies are not able to take students on work placements, and your son or daughter has been instructed to politely thank the company for taking the call and move on to the next one on their shortlist. Another way to get in touch with the target company is to send an email. Your son or daughter could choose to send it from their school email account or a personal one. They must be very careful with personal email accounts to make sure the email address is appropriate. Again, your son or daughter has instructions and advice on how to structure an email in the student handbook. If your son or daughter sends off several emails at once, it is important that they follow this up until they hear a response either way. In years gone by, people have applied for work placements by posting a lot of letters. In the modern world of work, this is a wasted effort. Most companies will not reply to letters, so it is much better to get in touch via phone or email. Once your son or daughter has made the initial contact with a company and they've agreed to have a further conversation, there are a few things that need to happen and a couple of things that it is advisable to do. Again, this is all detailed in both the parent and the student handbook. The need. Your son or daughter must get their confirmation in writing via email and will need the name of the main person they should keep in contact with between now and starting their placement. Your son or daughter must also let the company know that they will receive a pack from the school with an employer's guide and work-related learning forms. This includes agreements, insurance, review and feedback, some of which they will need to return to us at school before they can start their placement. The advisables. It might be nice to follow up the confirmation with a letter of acknowledgement and thanks for your son or daughter to tell the company they are really looking forward to their placement and what they are hoping to gain from it. Your son or daughter should also think about sending a CV in for the company to review, as well as trying to arrange a face-to-face meeting before they start their placement to make initial introductions. Please be aware that some companies will want to conduct some sort of interview before they agree to offer you a placement. If this is the case, you must let me know before you go. Your son or daughter should send an email to the work experience inbox that you can see on the screen now. Being out of school on a work experience placement can be an exciting and/or scary time, not only for the young person, but also for the parent or guardian. We have several key expectations of your son or daughter whilst on placement. Firstly, behaviour. Behaviour whilst on placement must be impeccable. We expect your son or daughter to behave exactly as if they were in school, be polite at all times, be a good listener, and remember the school's core standards: considerate, courteous, cooperative, friendly, hard-working, honest, trusting, generous of spirit. Should your son or daughter's behaviour not be in keeping with what the school expects whilst on placement, or indeed in the run-up to the placement, then the school will not allow them to complete or undertake the work experience. They will instead remain in school during this time, conducting a work-related learning placement in school. Mobile phones. We appreciate your son or daughter might need their mobile phone to arrange transport or other personal admin, but other than that, they should not have any need for them during their work placement. We have instructed students in their handbook that their phones should remain in their bags and switched off at all times. Social media. We have given your son or daughter very clear instructions about safe and professional use of social media whilst on placement, and have instructed them in the handbook that it's highly advisable not to post anything about the company on social media. We would encourage parents or guardians to do the same and not make any public comments about a company. Safety. The company that offers your son or daughter a work placement has a duty to make sure they are safe during their time with the company, and they are legally bound to go through health and safety procedures with them on arrival. We as a school also have a duty of care to make sure your son or daughter is safe on placement, and so you must let us know if you do not feel they are safe or if anything makes you uncomfortable during their work placement. Working with young children. If your son or daughter arranges a work placement in a primary school or nursery, they will have a specific meeting with me before they go to remind them about behaviour with young children. Transport. It is crucial that your son or daughter plans their transport to get to and from the placement before they start. We have encouraged them to do a trial run of their chosen transport route, whether that be using public transport or a parent or guardian driving in the car. If your son or daughter is intending to drive themselves to the placement, it would be courteous to let the organisation know, as many companies have allocated or designated parking or require number plate information. Please be aware that Northampton School for Boys will not pay for any transport costs. If your son or daughter is unwell during their work placement, they must phone the company and the school as soon as possible. Please be aware that the school will be calling each placement on both the Monday and the Friday of the work experience week to ensure that your son or daughter has arrived and to check how the week has gone. Should your son or daughter not attend their placement without valid reasoning, they will be expected in school, and should this not occur, it will be considered truancy and will be sanctioned upon return to school after the summer holidays. In your son or daughter's work experience pack, they have a checklist of each step they need to take between now and beginning their placement, as well as a checklist of all the paperwork they need to get completed. Your son or daughter will need to digitally sign a student agreement form on AIM, which we will use in conjunction with the behaviour commitment they have already made to Northampton School for Boys. You as parents or guardians will need to complete and return a parental agreement form. Again, this is on AIM and should appear the next time you log into the platform. Once your son or daughter has secured their placement, the employer will need to receive a copy of the information guide for employers, in which will be their placement provider agreement form to be returned to the school as soon as possible. The employer will also need to provide details of their business insurance to the school. Again, this form is in the information guide for employers. The school will send and monitor all of this paperwork, but it is your son or daughter's responsibility to get the information to us. They must do this as soon as they have their placement confirmed by sending an email to the work experience inbox with the relevant information. At the end of your son or daughter's placement, they will need to ask the company to complete the work experience feedback form, which the school will send on the penultimate day of placement. Northampton School for Boys is available to support your son or daughter at any point during their placement. It is imperative that you contact the school should you require any support at any time, and below you will find key contact information. Between now and your son or daughter starting their placement, it is highly likely you will have lots of questions or queries, and the school is available at any time. In the first instance, you should email into the work experience inbox directly, and I will aim to get back to you as soon as possible. If you need to discuss something more sensitive, please feel free to email me directly. One of the most frequently asked questions is, what if my son or daughter doesn't like it? It's fairly inevitable, the nerves start to kick in and your son or daughter will start to worry about things. Remember, your son or daughter can phone school at any time during their placement and tell us what they're not enjoying about it. The school will also be conducting visits to people whilst on placement, so it might be that your son or daughter will receive a visit to help boost their confidence. The most important thing to remember is that if they don't like it on day one, they need to give it more time. Please encourage and support them to go back for day 2 and try again. Don't just give up. As part of our work experience placement scheme, the school will carry out visits to certain employers or particular students during the placement. These visits are not in any way designed to check up on the employer, they are more for the school to quality assure the scheme as a whole. It may well be that students with specific needs will be monitored more closely by the school and will be visited during the placement to ensure they are progressing successfully. If you have any safety concerns regarding your son or daughter whilst on placement, you must get in touch with the school straight away and ask for myself, Miss Rickaby, or Mrs Bradley Brophy, the Director of Sixth Form. Thank you for your time.